All right, guys, what's up? This is Dr. Tyson, and today I actually want to show you how to use loops in GarageBand. So that's what we're going to be doing today. It's pretty simple, but I'm going to walk you through the steps. So let me change my screen. All right, so on your desktop, your first thing you're going to do, of course, is log in. Once you log in, you're going to go to GarageBand. And if it's not in your bottom menu, like if you see, for me, it's not in my bottom menu, you're just gonna go to this eyeglass right here. You're gonna search it, and you're gonna type in GarageBand, and then you're just gonna click on it right there. And I'm not sure why this is showing up on mine, but it's no problem. I just press OK, and you should get a new window where you can choose a project. You may have some presets, but I don't have any. So you're just going to choose empty project, and it'll automatically default. Well, actually, no, it won't. It'll give you 4 options. So it'll give you MIDI, the drummer rock, the mic or line, or guitar or bass. So today we're just going to work with the MIDI preset, even though we're not going to be using the MIDI. It's just probably the safest choice for us. So we're going to click on MIDI, and you'll notice that when you do that, it automatically gives you an electric piano. So for instance, if your keyboard is already turned on and it's connected through USB, like we have in our classroom, you'll notice that you should be able to play the keyboard. So right? So you should have sound, but we're not going to worry about that today. Actually, today, what we're going to focus on is loops. So if you look over in this corner, you'll see a button over here that looks like a loop. And if you hover over it, it has the loop browser. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on that. And what you'll see is there are a bunch of different loops that you can choose from. And you can even audition them. So if you just click on them, before you drag them over, you can audition them. So these are all drums. It's kind of like an 80s backbeat groove. I actually kind of like that. So what we're going to be doing in class today is I want you to actually drag a drum loop. So for instance, it might be the 80s backbeat. And I will choose the 80s backbeat, and I'll just drag it over. Make sure when you drag it all the way over to bar 1. You should see a 1 right there. And you'll see that maybe it only lasts for what? For 2 bars, 1, 2. So if you want it to last for 4, which most loops are either 4 or 8, what you'll do is you'll hover over at the top, and you'll duplicate it. You'll duplicate that loop, or you'll drag it over. There's another way to do it. I'm not going to show you that today, but for today, I just want you to drag it over, and that should play it twice. Also, there's a cool feature in most DAWs, including GarageBand, where you can actually loop. So you're going to click at the top, and you can actually change the parameters of that. Like for instance, if you want to do an 8-bar loop, but we're only doing 4 bars for right now. So if that is highlighted yellow, you know that it's going to loop back and forth. So this is what it should sound like. And of course it's playing again, and then it should go right back to 1, right? No skipping, no delay, no nothing. It just went right back to 1. So now I got to find something else to play with that. All right. So let's bring it back to the beginning. Maybe a bass line. So we have drums. Now I'm looking for like a cool bass line to work with. That's not really a bass line, but it is a cool synth that I could use, right? So I'm going to drag that over. And as you can see, this is actually MIDI, and I'm going to eventually I'm going to show you all the difference between audio and MIDI. But this is a MIDI patch, but it's still the same thing. You can still drag it over, and duplicate it. And I had to actually do it 4 times because it was only a 1 bar loop. So let's see what that sounds like. Sounds pretty cool. All right. So let's see if we can find something else. Ooh, I think I might like that. And I maybe want that at the end, towards the end, to make it repeat. So when it goes back to the repeat, it creates more of a kind of a tension or a build up. So here we go. When we start over. I kind of like that. That's pretty cool. All right, let me try this. I'm not sure if it's in the same key, but if it does work, that'd be really, really cool. And we talked about this in class, but there's a lot of trial and error that happens when you're building your music and making your music. Sometimes things will work, sometimes they won't, and you just make adjustments. So I'm doing it in real time so you can see it. So it happens to be in the same key, so that's pretty cool. All right, so what do I have so far? I have my drums. I got the 80s backbeat. You have the synthesizer. This is more like just like a synth. It almost kind of fits the role of like a rhythm guitar, even though it's a synth. So you have that going on. We have the little build-up riser, and then we also have, I would consider this a bass line. So if I solo it, it's low. So it sounds more like a bass line. So I don't need to necessarily find a bass. Cool. All right. So let's see if there's anything else we want to add. Right now, I feel like that's enough. And that's what I want you to do in class. I want you to find drums, maybe a complementary line like this. And then maybe some type of cool effect to like a build up or something that maybe creates tension or a build up, so that when you loop it, it makes it sound like it's, it's getting ready to build up and it's getting ready to go somewhere. Like this riser here. And then lastly, I want you to find a bass line that will complement the drums and the synth line as well. All right, so let's put it all together, see what it sounds like. All right, cool. And that's what you're doing for the day. If you do that and you finish early, try using a different genre. Like this one kind of sounds like 80s. Maybe you might want to, try to find some 90s hip hop, or maybe you want to find like some rock and roll or a different style of music. But try to experiment. The goal is that you experiment with this. Another thing I'll show you too is you can actually change the tempo. So right now it's set to 100. And whenever you see tempo, that's BPM. It's going to stand for beats per minute. So right now this is 100 beats per minute, but I can slow it down if I wanted to like 80 beats per minute. I don't know how that will sound, but we'll see. Right, so that's kind of slow. So maybe I would want to speed it up to like 120. See what that sounds like. So now that kind of sounds like a really fast video game. I can even speed up even more. Uh-oh. What just happened? Okay. All right, there we go. Took a minute for the algorithm to adjust. Right. So you can go as slow or as fast as you want. Let's see how fast we can go. So technically it's saying we can go all the way up to 990. That probably sounds terrible, but let's see. Right. That does not sound musical at all. Or you could go all the way down to, let's see how far it'll go. It'll go down to 5. Wow. That's really, really slow. It'll probably take a whole 5 minutes to get through it. Right. So those are two extremes. That's not very musical. So let's find a tempo that we like. I think I liked 100. But let's just do 110. And sounds pretty good to me, right? Everything fits pretty well. And that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, let me know. But keep working on that. And if you finish that, try to do a different genre if you have some extra time. All right.